What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today it is episode number 29. We are on a roll right now. The Summy, we are cruising right now. So much stuff going on today. A little more college football news. Got some more NFL news involving a special top 3 draft pick from last year's draft or 2 years ago, whatever. Little news with him. Everett and I were also going to be going over our top 5 offenses in the NFL, a little preview going into next year. I already got my college football stuff. Everett, what else you got for us today?
I got a laundry list of things to go through today. We got a little bit of basketball, a little bit of baseball, a lot of NFL stuff. Surprisingly, I managed to scavenge around basically no NFL news this week, minus, I guess 2 things. But besides that, not really any NFL news, and I managed to scavenge together basically sticks and band-aids, a lot of content for this week, including me redeeming myself because apparently I can't read.
There's a slight issue when it comes to reading comprehension on the Waterboy Podcast, and I'm not going to give you all the blame here. I was also editing that video, and I also forgot to read the word "new" in that tweet. But you know what? Hey, we make mistakes. It happens. All right. Still, the Eagles suck, and we're going to point that out. We're going to point that out.
Anything related to the Eagles,
we're going to point it out. Okay. The Eagles are garbage. Okay. We will point that out.
One thing that I did want to say is when this episode comes out, we should have a new logo by this point, and I just wanted to thank my girlfriend. Quick shout out to my girlfriend for drawing it up. Amazing artist, so thank you so much. Quick shout out. We're just going 10x over here, the Waterboy Pod. We got big things planned, but yeah, let's get right into the episode. Okay, starting things off, before we get into anything crazy, I just want to come out just quickly and say, a lot of you are probably like, why is this guy wearing a Chelsea jersey right now? Well, that's because Chelsea just signed Raheem Sterling from Man City after City's on their Haaland fire sale. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know anything what I'm talking about. From my number one most trusted source in the Fantasy Premier League, I have heard Man City they've been in this rotation style of offense with their front 3, their attackers past couple of seasons. And you know what? Hasn't been great for the Fantasy Premier League lads, but I think this year there might be some consistency. They might not be switching from Foden to Sterling to Mahrez to whoever's playing winger on X given week. There might actually be some consistency with Haaland up there. So just want to say, shout out Chelsea, just got Sterling. Fantasy Premier League is back. That's why I'm wearing the jersey. But enough of that. Let's get to the real sports, the American sports. Everett, We're going to do NFL last, but we're going to go with America's pastime, MLB. One thing I just want to point out, over the weekend, Dodgers-Cubs. Dodgers have been just kind of on a roll on this home game stretch. This is actually the Dodgers' longest home game stretch of the season. I think they are now 10-1 in their last 11 or something like that. Crazy streak out of the Dodgers. But 2 nights ago, Tyler Anderson, Ian Happ getting a little bit of a debacle. Ian Happ's rounding third. Tyler Anderson's covering home plate. And now I'm not too read up with my baseball rules, but everyone in the comments was either destroying Tyler Anderson or destroying Ian Happ. So I'm not sure if you saw the play, but Ian Happ, while coming home, ran into,
just in my opinion, just tried to truck Tyler Anderson.
Yeah. So I don't know if you ever saw 42, which is the movie with Chadwick Boseman about Jackie Robinson.
I did not see that one.
But there's a scene in it where he steals home and he trucks the catcher and is safe at home. That's how he steals home. He trucks through the catcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure it's legal, but obviously it's frowned upon.
Now, I think there's been some rule recently, in the past 5-10 years, saying you're not allowed to truck catchers, let alone pitchers. But I'm pretty sure they said we're trying to remove home plate collisions between catcher and the base runners. This is another thing I just want to say though. when it's a catcher covering home plate, like they have gear on and stuff. So as a viewer, you don't really feel as bad for the catcher. You're not really concerned about like he has gear on. You're like, okay, he'll hold on to the ball. But when it's a pitcher, I don't really know what he was doing. This is the thing. A ton of people are also saying Tyler Anderson's standing in the middle of the base path. What do you want Happ to do? Just let him tag him? No, I'm not saying that. But like, I don't know what Ian Happ was doing, trying to truck Tyler Anderson. Like, I think Tyler Anderson was so caught off guard. That's why he responded by like shoving him in the back, pushing him to the ground. I also just want to say though, like after Ian Happ did that, he said nothing and he just kind of walked back to the dugout. I think Ian Happ knew like, all right, I shouldn't have done that. And he wasn't arguing, but the entire Cubs dugout just blew up after that play. And we're so mad, but that's my 2 cents. Last thing on that, if the roles were reversed and the Dodgers were running into a Cubs pitcher, the entire league would say that Dodgers base runner is like the dirtiest player in the league. It's just hate on the Dodgers. Like that's what, in my opinion, what it was. Cause I mean, I don't know what the hell Ian Happ was doing there. Obviously I'm biased here, but if I was Tyler Anderson, like what the hell, what was that Happ? Like, what was that?
Sometimes, just to get through the Dodgers, you just got to take them out by the knees. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Dodgers in the past, Chase Utley, Manny, they've had a bit of a history trying to injure other guys. Maybe the favor had to be returned. I don't know, but when I saw that in just first time through, I was like, what the hell, Ian Happ? What was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my opinion on that.
Yeah, just also, by the way, like we were talking about this before the episode started, the Reds beat the Rays in the most Reds fashion possible, like winning on a walk-off balk from the Rays. Like I don't, in the top of this, in extra innings, like I don't really know what else the Reds could like. What else is more like quintessential Reds besides the dude who wanted to take a dump in the back of the truck that's on the stadium?
Yeah. Speaking of just a little standing outlook division, the Reds are actually, I think they're on a 5-game winning streak right now. Like remember start of the year, the Reds started what, like 4-18, 4-19 or something horrible.
They weren't winning games.
Anyway, MLB baseball is just such a weird sport. There's just ups and downs on the season. It's like almost virtually impossible for a team to win under 50 games. Like the worst team is like almost guaranteed to win 60 games every year. Like that's just how the sport works. But this is something I just want to point out in general. I've been kind of surprised how some of these bottom tier teams have just kind of started playing well recently. Something that just really caught my eye in the AL East right now. The Orioles are 1 game behind 500. And the AL East has 4 teams above 500. Orioles are about to be 500.
Right, they're on a winning streak right now.
Orioles are 8-2 in their last 10 as of Sunday when we're recording this. AL East, I don't understand what they're eating and feeding those players out there. But that division is the best division in sports. The AL East right now, the Orioles.
That is the actual AL Beast. That actually is the Beast division, not the NFC Beast. No, not the AFC Beast. No. The AL Beast.
Another thing about this Orioles streak just blew me away. The entire Orioles roster is getting paid less money than Max Scherzer alone for this season.
Yeah, I know that. Like I told you that at the beginning of the season.
I just think that is phenomenal that they're about to be 500. Wow. Shout out Baltimore. I don't know what you guys are doing over there. Maybe Cal Ripken's luck is just influencing the players. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so my big thing that I wanted to talk about in baseball was that Luis Arraez, I know it's Luis Arraez because that's how they pronunciated it at the stadium when I was at the game, got absolutely robbed for the All-Star game this year. He's a first baseman for the Twins, if you were unaware, and Vladdy Daddy got the All-Star starting nod.
I'm pretty sure he does not play first.
He does play first base.
I'm like
first base.
He's all over. This is his first year playing first base.
This is his first year playing first base since high school.
He's just like a utility infield guy. Anyway, go on.
But he's starting first base. He's the starting first baseman this year. Like that's a solidified fact. Okay. And this year, like he's like a solid first baseman. Like he's about average for a first baseman, right? Like, I mean, he's a little bit short too. He's 5'10". But regardless of that fact, he's been absolutely nuts batting. Like this might be like one of the best contact hitters in the MLB in like the last 10 years. This season, at least. Luis Arraez this year.
Shout him out.
Luis Arraez this year, 2022. 282 at-bats. With that 282 at-bats, he's only struck out 25 times, which is less than 0.1% of all of his at-bats. With that said, his batting average is .355. He has a WAR of 3.2, a slugging percentage of .457, an OPS of .884, and an OBP of .426. He's already tied his home runs, his career high in home runs. He has 34 walks this year on 77 games, 15 doubles, 1 triple, 100 hits.
I'm most impressed. He's got a 35 walk to 25 K ratio. I mean, I don't know why, but when I look at players' tough outs in my mind in the playoffs, that's what makes a scary batter, tough outs. And when I see a player walking more than striking out, that's a pretty good indicator the guy's a tough out. I don't know. Sue me for saying that. I might go on a limb and say that.
Luis Arraez literally, like almost every bat, like it is impossible. Like this dude sees the zone so well. Like it's almost impossible to strike him out. Like he's either going to get a hit and it's going to be a line out or a pop out if you get him out, or he's going to walk. Like
now, this is something I'm just kind of looking at now. He has kind of been all over the place. He has played 250 innings at first, 200 at second. I don't know how exactly the voting works for that. Does he count as a first baseman or second?
First baseman.
Okay, by counting as a first baseman, I can see why it's a little harder for him to make the All-Star team.
But also, if you count him as a second baseman, you're putting it's him or Jose Altuve. Like, I understand you can't put him at DH because Ohtani. Like, you're not gonna not put Ohtani at DH, but like on average,
I think it's Jordan. Is it Jordan not the DH?
Ohtani is the DH.
Really? Wait, let me look at this All-Star.
The All-Star for the American League. The center is, I don't know who Kirk is, but it's Kirk. First base is Vladdy. Second is Altuve. Shortstop is Anderson. Third base is Devers. Left field is Giancarlo Stanton. Center field is Mike Trout. Right field Judge. DH is Ohtani.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Okay.
Also, Freddie Freeland did make starting on.
Okay, all right. Just real quick, we're looking just at first base, right? Now, I don't think Vladdy's necessarily been great this year.
No, but that's the argument. Like, you're not like.
The thing though is, oh no, wait.
Like
yeah, okay. I see why Luis Arraez, if I pronounce it, I see why he didn't make. I see why he didn't make the team. Yeah, All-Star voting, it's just based on like fan vote, pretty sure.
I don't know.
I think for the starters, it is. Yeah.
It is fan vote?
It is 100%. At least for the starters, 100%. It is fan vote. With that being known, I think it's safe to assume that more people know who Vladdy and Altuve is than Luis Arraez.
For sure. But also, it's just like we're going on actual stats and how they've played this year, even non-statistically.
I'm gonna be honest. It is, those numbers are like hella impressive. Everything Arraez doing. Only having like, okay, let me look back one more time.
$77 games.
I just feel like it's hard to win over voters when you got 4 home runs and 29 RBIs. Like forget the OPS. I'm aware, but no one values contact hitters anymore.
No, I know, but like that's why it's so undervalued. And that's why you got robbed, because actual people that follow baseball understand how important.
No. The thing is, I think this is more just a reflection on the MLB itself. Like that shit's just gonna happen when it comes to an all-star vote. Now, I'm gonna be honest. This dude is literally leading all leagues in batting average and on base. Still putting up a 460 slugging this year. Like he will definitely be an all-star. Like if he doesn't get selected as a reserve, I don't even understand what the hell the voting is. Yeah, I would guess.
Like, look, I mean, to be fair, look,
putting him at first base, I understand that does make it a little harder though. That like it does. If he was second, I think it might be easier to put him over Altuve. Actually, I can't say that. I actually can't say that. Altuve. Nope. No. I'm saying this year Altuve is just statistically better than Luis. Like he is.
Yeah, but look, like he started playing in 2019. I think he was hurt in 2020, but it was also the COVID year was 2020. Like his lowest batting average for his career for a full season was 294. That was his lowest batting average. His highest is what he's at right now, but his first year he played 92 games, 334. Second year in the COVID year, 321. Last year, 294. This year, 355. All of his OPS, by the way, above 730. Slugging, he had an odd year last year, but
I mean, yeah, forget about that. Like that's fine. His slugging, I mean, he's not here hitting dingers. I don't know. I think he would end up getting more recognition if he was on a more offensive heavy team where he can score more runs. I think he'd be valued a little higher.
Oh yeah, if this was Bomba Squad, yeah, but it's not Bomba Squad.
Yeah, I mean, this dude's actually just played all over the place, and like I think that actually harms.
Well, it's also so like this is his first year. He got thrusted into like a starting position this year because they didn't have the players to fulfill first base on average.
I just remember he used to be a platoon guy. Like he'd only bat against righties.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're letting him play every day this year.
Yeah, now he's an everyday starter.
Yeah, my man kind of got the short end of the stick there. I'm kind of with that. When it comes to like these other starters, though, I'm looking Devers at third. It was between him or J-Ram. I have Devers on my fantasy baseball team, and I think Devers is just like one of the most disgusting hitters I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. But I can understand the J-Ram over Devers argument there. Like J-Ram's still going to be an all-star. Like it's fine. Stanton, Trout, Judge. I mean, Trout obviously was going to be. Judge was obviously going to be in. Stanton left. I also have Stanton in fantasy, so I love that. But I mean, that's debatable for that corner. I mean, that's kind of up for grabs. NL though, I kind of think they got everything right except maybe Trey Turner.
You don't think Trey Turner deserves?
Like maybe I can understand Dansby just statistically. It's the same argument that you just made with Twins guy, but like Trey Turner is just more popular and he plays for the Dodgers. So, I mean, he was going to win it. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Dansby's just had like a breakout year this year. I also have him in fantasy, and you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can see that Dansby probably should have been the starter, but Trey was just going to win it.
Just saying. I also think that Clayton. I don't think they've announced the pitchers yet, but Clayton Kershaw, no matter what, needs to get the starting off for that.
Now, I was reading into it. Like statistically, Sandy Alcantara should win.
Oh yeah, no, should.
be the starter over Gonsolin. I'm man enough to admit that. But do I think that'll happen? No. It's in Dodger Stadium, and that needs to be seriously factored into this argument.
Here's the big thing. Like Gonsolin, best ERA in MLB right now. He has the best ERA. Like that's a fact right now.
Oh, also fun fact. Tony Gonsolin is the only pitcher in MLB history to have a 10-0 or better record and a sub 1.5 ERA.
He's 11 right now, right?
Or 11, yeah, 10-0 or more, or a 1.5. He is the only pitcher in MLB history.
But like, here's the thing. Like, obviously, like, it's not necessarily deserving of it based off the last couple of showings he's had, but it could be Clayton's last year, at least his last year in the Dodgers uniform. It's in LA. He's never started an All-Star game before.
Yeah, and I was also looking back. There was a year, I think it was like between Scherzer and DeGrom. It was All-Star game in Washington, D.C.
It was Max Scherzer,
and they gave it to Scherzer.
No, wait.
No, they gave it to Scherzer over DeGrom.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So, like, just based off that, and I mean, seeing Trey get it, I'd be a little surprised if they don't give it to Kershaw or Gonsolin. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised.
I think it just has to be Kershaw.
Yeah, I also think Kershaw is kind of like a lock to make the All-Star team this year. Like, he has a 2.4 ERA, 1.005 WHIP. Like, some of the lowest he's had in a while. Well, I mean, 2020 doesn't count. Lowest full season ERA since 2017 this season for Kershaw. So I like that popularity factors into these things, you know, like Kershaw or Gonsolin will probably be the starter. This is another thing though, coming from a Dodger fan or just any sports fan, I don't care at all if my players make the All-Star team. I'd arguably want them to not make the team to motivate them or something. Like,
you don't want to,
like, personally,
given.
Whenever Ohio State players are like in the Heisman conversation, that pisses me off because that
they're going to be a
distraction.
Like, they're not going to care.
And so I hate it whenever players on my teams are being shouted out for being like I hate it. But also Mookie and Trey, and Clayton and Gons, give them it. Like, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they deserve that. I don't know though. It's all over the place. I think Freddie will also just be an alternate. They'll just give it to him.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I mean, all these things are gonna fall. Will Smith should also be an alternate.
Gavin Lux?
Probably not, but I'd love that to happen.
Yeah.
He is, but he won't. He won't get it. He won't. I'd love that.
Yeah, I'm hoping Joe Ryan, who's like the ace pitcher for the Twins, make it. I love me some Joe Ryan. But anyways, before we move on to basketball and then football, NFL, college football, right? I just wanted to briefly talk about the Live Jet. I don't know if you saw the Live Jet. So Live is like the alternate golf like league that just got set up. I think it's like some Saudi
league,
Arabian, like
the oil money league,
right? And they have like money. And there's this video of the Jet for players and their caddies, by the way. The caddies get to come along on this plane. And it's like something out of like the future. Like, there's purple lights everywhere. It's all white. It's like a huge open like indoor space.
Yeah. Like, so pretty much after I saw the pictures of that Jet, I completely understand why these guys left the PGA. I get it. I get it now. I get it. It makes sense.
Like, if
I was hearing this the other day, look at USC and UCLA are dipping the Pac-12. Texas and Oklahoma are dipping the Big 12 to get more money. It's all about money. All right. These golfers don't, in the PGA, these golfers have to split the revenue with everyone. And it's like, that's BS. That is BS, brother. Tiger Woods is obviously, the PGA should be giving Tiger way more money than they're giving the 12th best golfer in the world, whoever it was. Like,
Tiger Woods should be on retainer right now for the PGA Tour.
I mean, it's just things like that. Like, when you really look in and look at the PGA's like things, and how much money the Live is offering these dudes, they'd be stupid not to accept.
You know what I've never understood? I don't know if he's done it. You know the golf match that like it's like called The Match. It's like they do like Aaron Rodgers versus
Yeah.
Why have they never done that with Tiger Woods being someone's partner?
I don't know. I don't exactly know. I just do know when they do those events, like they had like Brooks and Bryson DeChambeau do it once. For those players to play in that thing, the PGA has to give them permission. Like the PGA owns all their rights. And now for the Tiger argument, like obviously that do so many numbies, but I also I feel like Tiger is like, I'm good.
Tiger might, but no, Tiger
like
kind of
Phil does it.
No, I know Phil did, but like I feel like Tiger kind of loves that kind of stuff, especially with other athletes. Like
why have we not seen a Tiger and Michael Jordan golf? Like what the hell?
If we had just imagine this group, we have Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Chuck's in there.
Yeah, Charles.
And then throw in Tom Brady. Like that would be gold.
That's must watch. That like might be one of the most watched golf events ever.
That might be one of the most like watched athletic events of the whole year.
Now I don't consider myself a huge dimplehead or anything, but I mean to grow the game, I mean those like little celebrity matches, I mean, I personally, I'm not really tuning into those. I guess that is a way to grow it. I mean, if anything, this Live PGA beef, that's kind of gaining some exposure for golf.
It's putting it in the news. Like, I mean, no news is bad news. Bad news is good news. Like, you know,
all news is good news. All news is what they say in Hollywood. But yeah, after seeing those Jets, I understand. I completely get it. Yeah. I would have also joined the Live Tour.
One thing that we forgot about in the MLB, I don't know if you saw this, but Chris Sale made his AAA debut this week. It was so
didn't go well.
I don't think that you could have asked like a demolition crew to do a better job destroying a dugout like Chris
that
Sale
freak out was just amazing. And to be honest, like, yeah, that dude's probably a little bit of a psychopath, but that's a good thing. I'd want my pitchers to be a little bit of a psychopath. Pitcher, right?
He's a Red Sox. Yeah, so that explains it. I mean,
I'd want my pitcher to be a little. I want him to be a little psycho. Just a little bit.
Like Joe, some Joe Kelly vibes in there.
Like when Mad Max was out there for the Dodgers last year, like I was always a fan. I always loved that.
Yeah.
No complaints out of me from that stuff. Last thing on the MLB, it's the bottom of the first right now, Dodgers Cubs, and the Cubs are up 5-0.
Who's the pitcher?
Julio Urias. So he might not be making the All-Star team anymore after that.
He might be moving down in the rotation after that.
I mean, that's bad. 5 runs first inning, not a good start.
He's not having a good season.
Yeah, he actually has been. Before today, he was tied for 5th lowest ERA in the NL, believe it or not, 2.57. Bet that might be a 3.57 now after that inning. But hey, man, Julio, we're rooting for you, brother. All right, that's all I got on MLB. Okay. You got anything else?
NBA. Okay, I got NBA. First and foremost, the New York Nets are absolutely delusional. Like Stephen A. Smith, like clip, like smoking weed clip, like that one.
Explain why.
Brooklyn Nets tried to make a deal with the Timberwolves for Kevin Durant this past week. The deal was that the Timberwolves would trade them Cat, Anthony Edwards, 4 draft picks in exchange for KD. The Timberwolves
can I see the source, because I have a feeling you might have just got sacked.
It was Legion Hoops, Chris B. Haynes, who is a senior NBA insider for Yahoo Sports, and Vincent Goodwill, who's an NBA writer for Yahoo Sports. Ballsack Sports made the same kind of thing, but for the Lakers.
That was what I'm thinking. So that was it. Ballsack Sports over the weekend went on a tear of just getting blue checks biting. They went on a tear. I think they said just a fake post saying the Lakers offered the Nets LeBron James, Anthony Davis, 5 first-round picks,
and like their entire team for Kevin Durant, and the Nets said no.
Kendrick
I'm like,
Nunn.
shut up. No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, that was all based off of the Timberwolves, that their attempt at trading with the Timberwolves, which I assume and hopefully the Timberwolves GM picked up the phone, heard it,
At least, I mean, I hope
I hope.
That's just
you never
great.
know.
That's great. This is my one thing I'm thinking about T-Wolves. So I saw like a Draymond Green clip the other day. He's going over the Rudy trade. And when I first saw that, I was thinking like, oh, is this a move for Cat? Like, why sign another 7-footer? Draymond was pretty much just saying what this move shows him. This might be why Draymond's in the NBA and I'm not. Draymond said this move to him tells him that they believe Anthony Edwards is about to become a 29-point scorer next year. And Draymond also said, I'll give you credit here. He said Anthony Edwards is next. He did say that. He thinks Anthony Edwards can become that guy. He was saying he's looking at that team or whatever. He thinks like that move shows him the Timberwolves are betting on Ant, not necessarily Cat. And then he went on to say, I'm not trying to disrespect Cat, but he has been there for like 8 years. And they don't start making these crazy moves until Anthony Edwards shows up. They weren't making those deals 5 years ago, you know?
They tried it one time with Cat, and that was for Jimmy Butler.
True.
Jimmy Butler,
actually, that is true.
Jimmy Butler proceeded to take the entire C
team, the whole fucking team apart.
The entire C team and dominate Cat. So I think that explames that. But
legitimately ripped the whole team apart. I actually completely forgot Jimmy was on the T-Wolves for what, 30 games?
For about half the season. Yeah. The best meme came out of that though, where they gave him like the roster or something. He looks at it like this, crumples it up and tosses it behind his head. Like
Jimmy Butler is just one. There's another clip of Jimmy Butler. I think he was playing tennis and he hands it to his tennis instructor and he's like, yeah, look, my man's going to tell you how good I am. And then it pans to the guy. I don't speak Spanish, but apparently the tennis instructor in Spanish said like, Jimmy's horrible. He is so bad at tennis. And then flips back to Jimmy like, yeah, he's talking all that shit in Spanish, baby. Jimmy Butler is one of the funniest people. That like whole coffee thing, like selling Jimmy's coffee in the bubble for like $30 a cup. Great. That is so funny.
Good clip, by the way. Good clip when you're editing this. Good clip.
Jimmy Butler, like that guy deserves a medal. That guy's great.
Speaking of Anthony Edwards, though, this is a little bit of a biased take, and by no means am I saying that this is like 100% factual and it can be debatable. I think Anthony Edwards is a better player to this point than LaMelo Ball is. And I don't think that's a hot take or anything. Well, people apparently like this year, the debate is like, people are like, oh, like, look, Anthony Edwards has behind it, like with him, like on his team in comparison to like LaMelo. Like LaMelo is like the whole team. Now that's not wrong because the entirety of the Hornets team is basically in prison right now. But, Anthony Edwards, like first, was last year his second year or his third year? I think
year two last year.
His first year, like who else did he have on the team besides Cat? Like they got D'Lo towards the end of the year, right? Like
D'Lo's nothing special.
That's exactly my point. Like LaMelo made the playoffs his first year because of the team that he had around him. Obviously, he was part of the reason why they got there, and it was probably the reason why he got there. But he did have
a good supporting cast. I'm on your team here. Could you not kind of say the same thing about Anthony Edwards? Like the T-Wolves aren't making playoffs till he showed up. Oh
no, you can. But what I'm saying is the supporting cast around LaMelo was better. Not last year, but his first year was better than last year. Like so the comparison was going on is that their first years when they came into the league, Anthony Edwards had a better situation to come into than LaMelo, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think the Timberwolves just got good last year. Now, obviously, their team is much better than the Hornets situation that's going on right now. Michael Jordan, get your stuff together. But
the thing is, I would say neither team really has.
Neither team was good, but the supporting cast around LaMelo allowed him and helped him get into the playoffs that year. Now, you can make the argument that LaMelo was the reason they got there, and that wouldn't be wrong. But to state that LaMelo was a better player by far, I think is difficult to say. And last year, especially, that LaMelo, obviously, the Wolves had a better supporting cast overall, but that doesn't mean that Anthony Edwards wasn't out there busting his chops every single day or the same amount as LaMelo. Like, he's scoring the same points, like doing the same things. Like, arguably,
I'm looking at their just things right now.
More highlights,
just their stats for last season. LaMelo, Anthony Edwards averaged like a little more points per game. Not really much separation there. LaMelo had more assists and rebounds, but like LaMelo's also the primary ball handler of his team. That would make sense.
Yes.
I think
that it's debatable.
They also just play two different positions. You can't really compare LaMelo's passing stats to Anthony. Like,
yeah, I'm just going off of what I've seen on the interwebs, and if that's a debate out there, I'm pretty sure it's settled. My side of the argument is Anthony Edwards.
I think Anthony.
By the way,
after his acting performance of the summer, Anthony Edwards,
Kermit,
you definitely got to put him up. After that, like,
Dodgers now down 3-5.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything because I'm not trying to jinx anything, but I mean they're playing well. They're playing well.
Kermit and Hustle. Also, by the way, I don't know if you've seen that, but Rudy Gobert, Juano, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Good actor. Actually, very good actor.
He actually is an actor.
Like,
I had no idea. Apparently, this dude was an actor growing up and just happens to be 6'9", so he plays basketball.
I actually it was he did a very.
No, I thought he was actually good. I thought that movie.
Adam Sandler is carrying Netflix on his back right now. We talked about that before.
Him, Millie Bobby Brown. They need them more than anything. Netflix needs them more than anybody on earth right now.
The last thing that I have in the NBA, and I just think that this is hilarious. And you're gonna love this, by the way. 2K23. Some comparison ratings have come out for this next game. LeBron James.
I'm gonna be honest. These are all sack stuff. Everything you're about, I'm telling you right now, no ratings have been leaked. I'm just saying this now. They are all sack, but let's pretend they're real. Go on. I want to get that out. Disclaimer, but go on.
Disclaimer. It is possible. And I still think that this is hilarious. LeBron James, apparently with quotations, has a strength rating of 79. Grant can even keep it together.
I know that. I know what post you're talking about.
LeBron has a strength rating of 79, and Chet, Glass Man, Mr. Sticks Slender Man, has a strength rating of 81. He has a higher strength rating than LeBron James.
So I loved that post. That got a great chuck out of me. A couple other my favorite posts were Chet Holmgren is the first rookie to receive a 90 overall rating at release. How do you believe that? Like, it's so obviously fake. Oh, this is actually my favorite though. Breaking news, Russell Westbrook has a lower 3-point rating than Ben Simmons. They had Ben Simmons at 54 and Westbrook at 48.
I'm pretty sure Russell Westbrook's rating actually has already been confirmed. He's a 73.
No, that was cap.
You swear that's cap? I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. I really wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 67 rating.
If they made him a 73, that'd be the funniest shit.
Dude, someone at 2K definitely had him on his fantasy team last year, or bet on him, and just is pissed.
The 2K ratings are so bad. They're so bad, and they just don't care about updating them at all throughout the season.
Hey, at least they do. Funny. At least they do produce a better game than EA. So,
and that's really saying how bad Madden is, because 2K is actually so broken every year.
Just run middle, high, low every year. Get a 95+ speed player with some acceleration.
They haven't patched Dagger since Madden 15.
Don't forget double slam.
Don't forget double
slam. Or what's it called? It's wide receiver something where you take the receiver and it's a motion route and they come and they run a motion slant route across the middle.
It's like FL dive or drive or something. I forgot. Whatever. Those
but
games
yeah, okay.
just suck.
All right.
Okay. Do you got anything else, NBA?
College football. Really.
Okay, before we get into college, I need to pee really bad. My bladder's about to explode, so we're gonna take a quick break. All right, we're back. We got college football now.
Yeah, Grant has a bladder of a toddler.
Got a quick little rundown of news right now. So we're recording this on Sunday, July 10th, but it is about 2 p.m. Pacific time. In about 2 hours, Jason Moore, 4-star DN out of Chase Young's high school, will be announcing his commitment, where he is allegedly a silent commit to Ohio State, and he's about to announce that formally in a couple of hours here. So just want to shout out LJ once again. I still am awaiting an elite D end. I want a Mateo Uyunglele. I want a Nicholas Harbor. I want these guys. But hey, we will take Jason Moore. I'm not mad about that. We will proudly take that. More important that we took him from Notre Dame. That's what the battle was down to. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, we get him. All is good. Another thing I want to point out, Clemson football is not dead. Breaking news, they are not dead. Clemson football just landed a 5-star defensive lineman from the state of Alabama, taking him out of Nick Saban's backyard, making him a Clemson Tiger. Clemson is not dead, okay? They aren't. They're not dead. Watch out for Clemson. I'm still keeping my eye on them. Last thing I want to say, 5-star quarterback from Detroit, Michigan, has just committed to Oregon over Michigan and Notre Dame. This kid, I'm going to say a little bit about NIL real quick and why they got to start regulating this today. This kid, NIL was obviously the only factor in his decision, okay? This man commits to Oregon, and once he signed with Oregon, it gets announced that Nike, who obviously has ties to Oregon, offered both of his parents jobs.
Technically, that's not
you delusional ass college football fans want to come out here saying Ohio State's cheating. That's how they got their receivers. List one fucking Ohio State prospect that got an NIL deal before committing. Give me one. I'll wait. Quinn Ewers signed his $1 million deal after going to Ohio State. CJ Stroud just got his G-Wagon Bentley deal after balling up 2 years at Ohio State. Okay. There's a difference between cheating NIL, Tennessee, Miami, Oregon, and non-cheating NIL. You see, this is the thing. Teams like Ohio State, Alabama, they don't need to cheat with NIL to get players because they're about to get those dudes $70 million deals in the NFL. Example, Terry McLaurin, 3rd-round draft pick. 3rd-round draft picks out of Ohio State get 70 mil. What do 1st-round draft picks out of Tennessee get? Cordell Patterson. How much money did he get in his career, Everett? Yeah, he fucking wishes it was 70 million. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
That's why NIL, they got to do something. Okay. Miami literally gave a kid a $9 million NIL deal, a 4-star quarterback, $9 million to come to their school. And the kid turned down 11 million from Florida. I mean, guys, what are we saying here? Okay. Don't come after Ohio State. Just be mad that your program sucks and you need NIL to get players. There's a difference. I'm saying. God,
I got one thing for college football, though, before we move on to my laundry list in the NFL. I don't know if you heard about this. Barstool Sports reported this a couple days ago. Apparently, the Pac-12 is reportedly discussing a loose partnership with the ACC that would include a championship game in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so they're just trying to do whatever it takes to respond to this Big Ten, SEC, these moves. Big 12 is actually being proactive and trying to solve some issues, unlike the I guess the Pac-12, ACC is trying to do that now, but Big Ten, SEC, well, SEC made move 1, Big Ten made move 2, Big 12 is apparently making move 3. We're seeing how this all goes down. I don't know. Pac-12, ACC, things are just looking a little shaky. This is what I heard. Apparently, the ACC has their school signed under contract until 2036. That's 14 goddamn years from now. That's how long these teams are signed under contract. Apparently, in order for these teams to leave the ACC and join Big Ten, SEC, whatever, they allegedly have to pay up to $500 million in contract buyouts to leave the ACC before 2036. So with all this news going around, everyone's obviously looking at Notre Dame right now and Clemson. Where are they going? Everyone's assuming Notre Dame is just a natural fit in the Big Ten. People are assuming Clemson just makes sense to join the SEC regionally, powerhouse-wise in terms of their national reputation. The ACC might just come in and just block these moves. I don't know, though. $500 million, that is a lot. But when we compare the money that these schools will be making in the SEC or Big Ten compared to ACC, it's like hilarious how much more money they'll make over time, Big Ten, SEC. It makes you think a school like Notre Dame might actually be willing to do that buyout, Clemson included too, especially if they're not allowed to compete for a national championship in 2 years just by not playing in the Big Ten or SEC. They're definitely going to want out. But I don't know. ACC, I guess they have a bit of control here more than the Pac-12. I don't know the Pac-12's deals, but USC and UCLA were able to dip. So Oregon, Washington. Yeah. Oh, this one. Oregon right now is in panic mode. So Oregon right now, their athletic director is just scared shitless that Oregon might not have an opportunity to compete for a national championship soon. Oregon's just very afraid that they're going to be in the Pac-12 and it's just going to be a Big Ten, SEC natty. So if Oregon right now, if they stay in the Pac-12, they're not going to make a college football playoff. They need to leave. And the Big Ten will not take them. Like Notre Dame's priority one, the Big Ten doesn't necessarily want to expand unless those teams are big enough to bring in more money and revenue. The Ohio State AD, the Wisconsin AD, Michigan AD, they're voting 2 thumbs down to approving Oregon and Washington and Stanford. They don't want them. That's just less money for them. So they don't want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, all this going on with all this conference stuff, I think it's just inevitable. Like SEC and Big Ten are about to become 20-team super conferences soon. It's going to be North versus South. Call the Natty the Civil War. Literally, that's what it's about to come to. Literally, they should just call it the Civil War. It'd be hilarious. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. Also, I got to go back to NIL. I kind of got off point real quick. Just going back to my whole Ohio State actually has good NIL. Ohio State, they have the number 1 recruit in the class of 2024. ESPN did a little bit of recruiting re-rankings, and they actually put this kid, an Ohio State player, at number 1. Maybe the first time ever that ESPN's giving Ohio State recruits love. But this kid, Dylan Raiola, I was actually doing deep diving, really looking at this dude. Dylan Raiola's dad, Dominic Raiola, was an NFL center for 14 years, primarily with the Lions, I'm pretty sure. So let's just say Dylan Raiola financially is okay. NIL is not his main concern when picking colleges, okay? Dylan Raiola coming to Ohio State as a 2024 prospect, I think it was like 4 months ago is when he committed to Ohio State. Committing that early, what that shows me, his dad is an NFL center. I think he knows a little bit about football. Him picking Ohio State that early, that just shows me, hey, that's just more proof why Ohio State as a school, they don't need NIL. NIL is not the reason these recruits are coming.
No,
it isn't. It just isn't. It really isn't. Ohio State has just built this reputation as just an NFL powerhouse. That's why these guys are coming. That's the last thing I had to say about college recruiting, everything in that news. I have a little bit of fan outlooks, though, for my 2 teams, Ohio State, USC. Ohio State, the other week, I went over this last episode, but I had a nightmare that Ohio State lost their season opener against Clemson. And they're not even playing Clemson season opener. But I had a nightmare that they lost week 1. I was really thinking about it, looking back at past Ohio State seasons, other than the 2019 team, which in my opinion was like the greatest Ohio State team I've ever seen top to bottom. when Ohio State loses early in the season, they start to turn it up. They start to really turn it up. And part of me, I've always thought 2014, Ohio State loses week 2, Virginia Tech, they go win the Natty. And everyone is so high on them going into 2015. Everyone's like, they literally bring back everybody. They bring back the Bosas. They bring back Michael Thomas, Zeke. They have Braxton Miller, JT Barrett, and Cardell. Pick whoever you want at Q. They have all these guys around, but they were so bad 2015. I think it came down to a lack of motivation, just a lack of passion. They had no reason to play. They already knew they were going to be first-round draft picks. With that in mind, if Ohio State loses week 1 to Notre Dame, the season's not over. And I think Ohio State could potentially just become a demon after losing week 1, getting embarrassed if they lose at home to Marcus Freeman, ex-Ohio State Buckeye. If they lose in his debut start on the road to Columbus, that would put me in a interesting state of mind. Let's just say that. But I don't think it'd be the end of the world. Now, of course, I don't think Ohio State's going to lose in Notre Dame or anything. I just think Ohio State, they have one test until like week 8, and that's week 1 Notre Dame. I don't know if I'm happy this is a week 1 game, or I'm not sure if I'm happy it's week 1, they have the whole offseason, or if I'm concerned that it is week 1. I'm just thinking Oregon game last year, I was just blown away they lost. I'm fucking going on a tangent here. I don't even know where I'm really going with this, but Ohio State, I'm not.
You gotta wrap that.
I'm expecting great things, but I'm a little bit concerned about this week 1 game.
All right.
I'm a little bit concerned.
That's enough said.
Yeah.
I'm going to start going for like another 10 minutes.
Dodgers are doing all right. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normal NFL. Let's do normal NFL instead of talking about, going in a circle for 20 minutes.
I'm sorry. Ohio State just gets me excited. Okay. Okay. NFL.
Okay. I got my laundry list. Then we'll get to whatever else. Yeah, I do. I got a lot of stuff here. It's going to be a minute. This is my little tangent spot here. First things first, I can't read. The NFL tweeted out, I think it was last episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, a list of new wide receiver duos. And I just read it as wide receiver duos and then proceeded to dump on the Eagles. They did just tweet out this week, what returning wide receiver duos do you think is best? The last time I said this, it's going to be the same thing, and these are just all the receiving duos that I listed. So there's no point in me going over that at this point. But with that said, talking about receiving, I have a little interesting fact here that I think you're going to love.
Okay.
So last year, you're familiar with Patriots great N'Keal Harry, correct?
Who isn't aware of N'Keal Harry, the Arizona State legend?
Last year, N'Keal Harry had 25 yards after the catch. The Vikings center, Garrett Bradbury, had 24 yards after the catch.
How's that even possible?
He had a pass
both
to
sides, center and N'Keal Harry. How were those numbers possible?
He had if we clip this, there's a video of it from the game, put it underneath. But
Everett. Okay, never mind. Read that wrong. Never mind. Go on.
But
I thought I just read he played 1 game last year. I was like, wait, that can't be right. I'm like, there's no way. He played
but basically, like Kirk Cousins hit the ball, got tapped in the air. Garrett Bradbury dove and caught it and started running for 20 yards and then got tackled. But with that said, besides that, just real quick, CBS Sports ranked every roster in the NFL from 1 to 32. Just real quick, I was going to take a poop on the Eagles because they're ranked 9, but actually after looking at their roster, I can't really do that, although the receiving court does not have hands. So they're not going to be ranked 9 by the end of the season because the Eagles do what Eagles do, and they sold their soul to get a Super Bowl trophy. But they're ranked 9. The team that I am going to crap on, though, is why are the Cowboys ranked 7? The Cowboys are the 7th best roster in the NFL? No,
I'm looking at that edit. Okay. The Cowboys last year, even with Amari, with all their weapons, they did I had Dak last year in fantasy, and let me tell you, it was not a mistake.
Dude, they have the Saints ranked 21 behind the Jets. there's no way of trusting this at all. And on top of that, I mean,
it's got to just be for clicks. It has to just be for clicks. I mean, that list, I don't understand what their reasoning is.
The Raiders are at 12. The Raiders, and you should switch the Raiders and the Cowboys. Put the Raiders at 7 and Cowboys at 12.
The Raiders are frightening.
I know.
On paper.
So I don't know
terrifying. Other than the O-line, I guess. But I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs should not be 6. Bring them down. The reason why they were at 6 was because they had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce on the same team. I don't think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is about to repeat what Tyreek did last year.
No, but this will be a nice transition to what we're gonna end the episode off with. But I think that the Chiefs, I was kind of immediate reaction, like they just lost Tyreek Hill. They're definitely not going to be able to replicate what they're doing on offense, which obviously is true. That shouldn't be a hot take or anything. I still think the Chiefs are going to ball up next year. I still think.
Well, they will be very good, but it's not going to be the same.
No, yeah. Okay.
I got a couple.
Before we get in, I want to bring up the Zach Wilson thing real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zach Wilson, breaking news came out this morning. He apparently broke up with his long time.
Real quick, one thing I want to preface is PFF released an article before this happened stating Braxton Berrios, who's a wide receiver, was like, yeah, Zach Wilson matured this year, from comparison to last year. He's a brand new, dude, he's aged so much. He's mentally and physically, just more mature than he was last season. And then 2 hours later, this came out.
Yeah, so some people could say he matured by doing this. In terms of taste. But in terms of morality, you could definitely say he didn't mature over the past year. Maybe in taste, though. Actually, certainly in taste, I guess. Zach Wilson's a straight dog. It just came out that the reason that he broke up with longtime girlfriend, who now happens to be dating his old roommate from college, someone in the NFL, I forgot this guy's name. Daxton, I think something.
Daxton Mellons.
Yeah, Daxton or whatever the hell. His Zach Wilson's ex-girlfriend dating this guy. The reason that Zach Wilson and his now ex-girlfriend broke up is because apparently Zach Wilson cheated on her with Zach Wilson's mom's best friend. I'll let you guys sit on that for about 2 seconds. I'll let you guys just take that in, let that sit. Now, Zach Wilson, by maturing and stepping up to the Cougar League, this could go one of 2 ways for Zach Wilson, okay? He either becomes a top 5 quarterback by week 5 and cements himself as a phenomenal pick for the Jets, or he's out of the league by week 5. There is no in between. He will either be a star or he will be a bum by week 5 this year. I'm almost certain of it. As another thing we got to keep in mind, Zach Wilson is Mr. BYU, perfect Mormon boy.
So
now I know the Mormons, they're a little looser when it comes to marriage, but hey, they weren't married yet. And I pray to God that man did not participate in any premarital. He better not have.
Here's my question. How do you think that those family dinners and church service Sundays are going to go for Zach Wilson now?
Yeah, let's just say the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints might be a little heated when Zach Wilson goes next time. That's just a great story. Zach Wilson, we can only wait and find out how this will impact him. I'm personally on the side that this might be the beginning of the end. And the rise of the CJ Stroud New York Jets era. This might be an indicator. I don't know. He could also potentially become the greatest quarterback in NFL history after that, though. We have to wait and find out.
Speaking of the greatest quarterback in NFL history,
Kirk Cousins.
Yes, but the Browns traded Baker Mayfield to the Panthers this year. And just what I love, this week, what I love out of all of this is Baker Mayfield is playing. The Panthers are playing the Browns week 1 of the NFL season. Also, the Browns are paying half of his salary. So essentially, they are paying Baker Mayfield to beat them.
And remember, first overall picks make a lot of money, and it's fully guaranteed.
He's making like 10. They're each paying like 10 mil.
So yeah, let's just say Baker, I guess, isn't winning, but he stayed winning.
But okay, talking about the actual greatest quarterback of all time, Kirk Cousins. I got a little.
Also, real quick, just want to say, Water Boys had that Baker to the Panthers intel so long ago. Just want to point that out. We had that out really far in advance.
I got my inside sources.
I mean, like very like he kind of slept on, kind of been on a roll in this podcast on projections. I had Warriors in 6. You had Warriors in 6. We projected Baker to the Panthers. We also predicted the downfall of the Charlotte Hornets. So I mean,
the Hornets are actually wild.
Like maybe we can see into the future. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we are from the future.
Well, I mean, there's only one way to find out when we go over our top 5 offenses in a sec. But all right, before we get
but okay, yeah. So my Kirk Cousins bit, I got a decent amount here, and I'm gonna streamline into a little bit of fantasy, just a little nugget to satisfy your appetites. We're gonna get into fantasy more. The start of the fantasy season is happening now, but the longest active streak of consecutive games with the pass TD belongs to Kirk Cousins. Do you know how many consecutive games he's had a pass TD in?
So he holds the active streak for most.
He holds the active streak.
Okay. Real quick, he hasn't been hurt or anything, right?
He missed one
game. He was playing like full. Yeah, but that doesn't count. Okay, so I'm gonna go with 34.
Longest active streak of consecutive games with a pass TD is 30 with Kirk Cousins. Matthew Stafford is the next closest at 22, followed by Justin Herbert, which I find really interesting. He's at 21 because he just entered the league. Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes are at the bottom at 8. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, nowhere to be found on the list. Just a little interesting tidbit.
Wow.
Also, unironically, the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings have the same amount of playoff wins since 2017. And keep in mind, Aaron Rodgers has won 2 MVPs in that span. Just want to make that point. Now, with that
also true statements. Those are all true.
With that also said, Kirk Cousins was hit throwing the ball last year more times than in a season than any other quarterback since 2019. He was hit 18 times while throwing the ball last year. So get him a new O-line. That'll be a decent point. But the big thing that I want to say about the Vikings specifically, going into a little bit of fantasy football, Ian Happ earlier this week tweeted out a little PFF breakdown of the outlook for the fantasy football league next year with the Minnesota Vikings. Specifically, Kirk Cousins, I think, is a very underrated potential quarterback breakout next year. Has had a little bit of problem, but he rated number 1 in the NFL in clean passer pocket passer rating. So keep that in mind. With the offense now going to a pass first offense, I think that that's something really important to note, because if they revamped their offensive line, if they can get that better and you have the clean pocket more often, that's going to allow Kirk Cousins to be able to actually complete these passes more. So with that also said, obviously Justin Jefferson, I don't need to say anything. That's going to be expected. Adam Thielen also tied Tyreek Hill in touchdowns. I believe he holds, over the last 2 seasons, he and Tyreek are tied at 3 for most touchdowns in the season at 24. So just keep that in mind.
Thielen does get a lot. They draw him up. They scheme him up very well in the red zone.
KJ Osborne, though, also I think is a very just under the radar wide receiver to get. If you're in a deep league and you need a wide receiver, KJ Osborne, I think is going to have a big breakout year after last year when he kind of broke out. He's actually
also very good another thing I want to point out. This kind of going on KJ Osborne, why I think like good pickup for me. When I look at like late round wide receivers that could potentially be breakout guys, I always think, what offense are they in? What type of offense are you in? For me, when I'm drafting wide receivers, that's my number one thing I'm looking at. Who's throwing you the ball, and what does the O coordinator like to do? Does he like to give you the ball or not? The one thing I think, great moves. So Kevin O'Connell, new Vikings head coach, he'll be running the offense, right?
Yes.
So he'll be calling plays. He'll be man in charge. Well deserved, by the way, after a Super Bowl. I think he's going to have a lot of fun with his weapons. And I think Kevin O'Connell made a very smart decision picking the Vikings where he has these weapons. I also think the Vikings made a smart move picking a guy who could use these weapons rather than a Jim Harbaugh, for example. But KJ Osborne last year, 655 yards, 7 touchdowns on 50 catches. I expect he had 82 targets last year. I expect that to go up. I expect that to naturally go up.
Look, I also think that he's going to bite into a bit of the not red zone shares, because I think Adam Thielen is going to hold down the red zone shares. But I do think that he's going to bite into the amount of shares that targets Adam Thielen gets.
I'm talking just marching down the field.
Like
that's where I think more so
those shares a little bit.
And also, I know a lot of people are saying how you're like Thielen's washed.
No.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit older, but defenses still need to worry about be worried about Adam Thielen.
He's not your primary, your second best corner, if not your third best corner on the team. If you put your second on KJ Osborne, is going to be guarding Adam Thielen, which causes problems when teams don't have much depth at cornerback. And on top of that,
8-3 Cubs. It's okay. You can't win every game.
Team secondary corners are not always the greatest, but you'll find this little bit interesting that I've just kind of delved into in a little bit of research. The Vikings tight end this year is Irv Smith Jr. Okay.
Yeah, Irv.
Mm-hmm. Last year, before the season, he was touted to be the big next named tight end in fantasy football, even in the NFL per se. But unfortunately, tore his ACL, and you know what happened? Tyler Conklin, who was the backup tight end going into the year, took over and became a bona fide fantasy starter. Going into this year,
some might say he even overperformed, but
the only season that Irv Smith has actually played was when he was the second string behind Kyle Rudolph. So he was obviously not getting as many targets. This year, he's now the starting tight end, coming in with last season's expectations, now probably a little bit lower because he tore his ACL, but knowing that those expectations were there means that he could reach that precipice. And with all that said, Kirk Cousins, especially coming out of the Vikings, everybody thought that and knew that on the Redskins or on the Commanders now, he favored targeting the tight end. So when he came to the Vikings, everybody thought, okay, pick up Kyle Rudolph, right? Like he's going to get a lot of these shares, especially in the red zone. Do you know who also was on the team, on the Washington Commanders, on the Redskins, when that was the case for Kirk Cousins?
Jordan Reed?
Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell was on the Washington Commanders at the same time.
Yeah, I'm thinking tight ends.
Well, Jordan Reed was. But Kevin O'Connell was on the Washington Commanders at the same time when Kirk Cousins was favoring tight ends. Now, having this tight end, Irv Smith, come back to the team in an offense that's favoring passing, that's also on a quarterback and a coordinator that's favoring tight ends and passing. Just saying, I think that could be a very good draft pickup, especially later, not focusing on tight ends.
Okay, you just sparked something in my head that I just had a little baby realization. Are you telling me that at one point the Washington Redskins had Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, Kyle Shanahan, and
Zach Taylor,
and LaFleur, all on the same foot? Really? What?
Yep. Flip.
Jay Gruden, what the hell, dude? You are the worst coach in NFL history.
No, it wasn't.
Jay Gruden, you are the worst coach in NFL history.
It was Shanahan's dad was the coach. It was RG3's first or second year, and then they replaced him when he retired with Jay Gruden, who proceeded to fire that entire staff.
I mean, guys, what is going? Holy shit! This coaching staff is hilarious. It's hilarious. The dudes that oh my god. The Washington, I guess, Commanders now. My God.
Oh, don't forget, they had an RG3 on the team too, by the way, who at the time, before he tore his ACL and couldn't play again, could play again, but not really. You had all of these offensive minds around him. Like, imagine if they actually managed to do that well.
Can you imagine if RG3 just didn't get hurt?
Like, dude, he's literally the Derrick Rose of the NFL.
Like, God damn. They could have had something special.
But that's my little take. We'll get into fantasy football in a whole more in depth later in the upcoming weeks.
Last thing I just want to say, I agree with you.
Do you want to have your little story time for fantasy football drafts, or would you like to save that?
Yeah, we might need to save that because we've kind of been running. Okay. But okay, last thing I just want to say though about like that old fantasy, when I'm looking at like skill guys, late round wide receivers, running backs, you just got to look at offensive scheme. And I just think Vikings are in a position to produce top 10 offense next year at the minimum, could even end up like top 5.
So
speaking of offenses, let's get into we're going to rank some of our offenses right now. I think it'd probably be easier if we just went through our top 5s. Just you go first and then I go or whatever.
Okay.
We just went through it straight. So you want to start off or me? Up to you.
I'll go. I'm the guinea pig here. Okay. In no particular order besides the first.
Oh, I ranked mine.
Okay.
Oh, I ranked mine.
So the first 2, I have Buffalo Bills, Chargers. 1, 2. Okay. 3, I'm putting the Buccaneers. 4, Minnesota Vikings. 5, Cincinnati Bengals. Those are my top 5.
Now we have a scarily similar list. So
look,
for me,
I said we said from the future.
Yeah.
The future.
I got number 1 Chargers, number 2 Bills. I got 3 Bucks, 4 Rams, 5 Bengals. My honorable mentions are the Chiefs and the Browns. I did not include the Vikings on there, and the reason I did that is because the O-line shakeup. We got to see what's gonna happen. I don't know. And also,
very fair, but also
I'd take these other quarterbacks over Kirk.
Yeah, but also look what Matthew Stafford did last year on the Rams.
I know. I'm just saying these are projections. I'm not just going to slot in the top 5 because I'm not projecting them.
You will rue the day you did not put the Minnesota Vikings in your top 5.
No, I didn't.
You will rue the.
Okay, real quick. I don't think any of these are like too crazy picks. I just want to like differentiate my Chargers, Bills, Bucks. I think those 3 are kind of in a league of their own. Just when we're talking complete everything, compare the other offenses I listed. I don't know. Feel free to call me out. Maybe you could slot the Rams in that category too. But Chargers, I just have them 1 pieces all around them. They have the piece at running back. They have the wide receiver pieces.
Who they draft?
The guard from Boston College. They got like some.
Zion Johnson.
Yeah. Regardless, I just think.
To be
also,
fair, though,
it's so hard to repeat as a number 1 offense.
Yeah, I think Bills were 1 last year. The Cowboys was the number 1 offense last year.
So they're not gonna.
No, that's why I did not. I also think Kellen Moore's offensive system is really easy to put together, and the reason why it did so well at the beginning of last year, because I think it was falling off, especially towards the end of the season. And that's why nobody hired him as their head coach, was because his offensive system is so simplistic. It works until it doesn't. And I don't think it's going to work this next year unless he makes new things for his system. But like,
I don't really look too much in the Cowboys, but it's just like Tony Pollard's just better than Zeke. I don't get it.
Well, the thing about the Chargers though is they had a very, like, obviously the receiving core is very good. I think if they added 1 more piece to that, if they had drafted a receiver, that would have made it 10 times better. But they got the next best thing in a guard because their offensive line was absolutely deplorable, and Justin Herbert had no time whatsoever. Especially in that last Raiders game to go to the playoffs. Like, the amount of scrambling he did was very impressive. I just think that the Bills, because they've always been there, their receivers, Stephon's better than Keenan Allen. Who's the dude who's going off?
That's the only fit there. Now this thing, I'm breaking.
Dawson Knox is better than the tight end that the Chargers.
Let's just look down Chargers, Bills. Okay, these are where the Bills had advantages. Okay, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Dawson Knox.
Right? Josh Allen. I guess he's better than Justin Herbert. But
by the end of the year, Allen, but I'm gonna be honest. Josh Allen last year was doing things I don't even understand how the Bills were so good offense. Their running game was non-existent last year.
It's still non-existent, although James Cook might do better.
This is the thing, though. So let's look just down the Bills list, okay? Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Jameson Crowder, Dawson Knox. Those are the receiving core. I like it. But, like, there's uncertainty at O-line and running back. I would like to say James Cook will probably be a baller. But, hey, maybe something goes wrong. I don't know. I don't think that'll happen, but who knows? I just think, just on paper, Chargers just a better outlook than the Bills. Give me their O-line. Yeah, give me their running game. That's what it really came down. The difference to me, the running game that the Chargers have. Yeah. That's like really what it came down to.
We don't know how it's going to turn out, but I would say that's very like those 1 and 2. They could go either way. We don't know. It's just kind of a mix.
Yeah,
I think that the Bucs will be there regardless.
Yeah, Bucs. I just have them free. They have the running. They have the O-line. They have Tom, who's better at 45 than 25.
Unless Burrow gets hurt again, or Jamar Chase gets hurt, the Bengals will be there either way. Also, they have a brand new
just got Rams.
Look at that O-line. The O-line that the Bengals have now too. Like,
so one thing I want to point out: they signed 3 new linemen over the offseason. Okay.
One of which being one of the best.
Ted Karras out of the Patriots, Alex Cap out of the Bucks, and Lael Collins from the Boys. So they revamped the whole right side of that O-line, which was so unbelievably bad in the Super Bowl. They revamped it. Bengals, like, my one thing though is just a little Super Bowl hangover. It could be a bit of a concern. You know, the Bengals, not saying anything contested here. They overperformed than what we thought last year. I just think, hey, maybe they're riding a little high. Okay, last thing I just want to say, I had honorable mention Chiefs. I just want to say, yeah, they lost Tyreek Hill, but like they still have Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, and their O-line is phenomenal.
Yeah,
the running game is like kind of non-existent.
My one problem though is the reason why Travis Kelce is going to do well either way.
No, I know.
So
There's Tyreek Hill. I know. But I think they added some pretty good pieces. Obviously, they weren't paying Tyreek, and I also thought it would have been bad long-term to lock up a lot of money into Tyreek Hill. But they made some good replacements, okay? I think MVS, Sky Moore, and Justin Ross are all some pretty solid replacements for cheap. And Juju. Like, I'll take that. If I'm the Chiefs, they're betting on Mahomes, not Tyreek, which I think a lot of people would also. But yeah. That's why I have Chiefs. Okay, last thing I got, Browns. I have Browns in the honorable mention, and this is a big asterisk if Deshaun Watson is healthy. First things first, with this move, the Browns actually have an elite quarterback, okay? In my opinion, if Deshaun Watson has been playing the season or two or whatever, if that's happened, Deshaun Watson would, without a doubt in my mind, be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and I really believe he would be if he had played last. I don't think that'd be like a hot take. They signed Amari Cooper, David Bell. I am concerned about their wide receiver core. Yes, that is very concerning. But like, yeah, they got Amari, but like other than that, Donovan Peoples-Jones ain't going to be performing for you boys. Michigan bomb. But the Browns have the best 1-2 punch backfield in the NFL. All right, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Who's better than them? Do you have one? Do you have anyone?
The only thing that would remotely come close would be Cook and Madison, but that's not.
What the fuck? What other 1-2, like what other running backs that you can Cook and Matt, bro?
What other running backs could you? What do you mean, Madison? You're the one every year who's like, dude, like
because I have Dalvin Cook. I'm talking. Okay, let me ask you this: when Dalvin Cook is healthy, how many times does Madison touch the ball again?
He goes on third down, so actually not a bad amount.
When Nick Chubb is healthy, how many carries does Kareem Hunt get a game?
No, but I'm saying, look. You're talking about a bona fide 1-2 punch. I said that there's nothing remotely close to it because there's no other running backs in the league that alternate.
But
like
you
that.
did say your first thought was
unless you're talking about the second half of the season, Seattle Seahawks with Rashad Penny and Chris Carson, who may or may not have a net.
I'm just thinking. I think it's hilarious that the only thing you thought of was just Vikings running backs.
Like, what do you expect?
All right, that's so. I thought that was pretty funny. Alex Madison,
Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins and Gus, as a duo, yeah, they're better than Dalvin and Madison as a duo. Obviously, Dalvin is better than both of them.
No, but I was trying to think of like what two running backs get used like throughout games because a lot of teams just use one primary running back. The Vikings,
Cardinals a little bit. James Conner, Chase Edmonds. I know Edmonds is gone. They were a little bit. I guess not really the Patriots.
Montgomery and whoever that
Patriots
dude is.
rotate?
No, kind of.
I think they kind of
stopped. But the Bears had Montgomery.
Tariq.
No, Tariq's not on the team anymore. But they had Montgomery and some rookie last year who actually was pretty good. So like that's not bad. Jamal.
Can't say I watched many.
The
Smith
Lions.
and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Evie. Come on.
All right. Okay. We'll wrap.
Yeah, but those are my honorable mentions. I just think Browns great O-line. They have the quarterback now. I mean, Amari, we'll see how that works out. But once again, that's a big if Deshaun can play.
We've been riffing for a minute, so let's wrap up this episode here.
Yeah, that'll do it. We've been talking for probably way too long. For everyone currently listening, I love you. But yeah, that was a lot to take in. Should have the new logo up. We're going 10x over here. Hope you guys like the overlay and everything. In terms of like rest of the episode, make sure subscribe, rate us 5 stars, download the pod, help your water boys out.
Yeah. And with that,
Water boys out.